Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Manuel Font Show. This is going to be quite a show actually today, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to respond to a comment on one of my shorts that over the past 12 to 15 hours from posting it, I had a comment that's worth addressing. And then we're going to talk about Lindsay Graham. Apparently, Lindsay Graham had an illness and he passed away last night. Not a sad situation there. Netflix has a big shift coming on, and Moana is not being too kind at the box office, the live action version. Um, Having said all that, get over to aspiredrinks.com, enter the promo code STRETCH for your discount on your energy drinks. Head over to Oh Glory and get your t-shirts, get your hats, get your socks, your sweatshirts, all of that by also entering Stretch as your promo code to get your discount there as well. Both companies are very, very good, highly supportive to the show, and they have some good stuff. So head over there, enter Stretch in both as the promo codes, and get your 15 to 20% off your gear and your drinks. Now, let's get into this show here today. Okay, so here's what happened. I spent the last episode talking about the roughly 5-minute monologue of Brian Tyler Cohen's episode where he interviewed Jim Acosta. And the opening monologue was essentially talking about the Graham Plattner situation, and he launches into this whole thing of morality and who's got the high ground on this, and you don't get to be here and say these things, Republicans, when this happened on your side of the fence with Ken Paxton and all these other guys, right? And all their improprieties, or sexual impropriety, or any other negative thing going on. And it's like, you can't do that when you have this guy in the White House doing this, or you can't do this because you have this guy, shit like that. So in my response to that, I basically said, you can't do that. You can't play that card at all, because your side of the fence is just as bad. And not only is it just as bad, the list is pretty long as bad. And if we're going to stay recent, then that's where I got into the entire bag of spaghetti Joe Biden, the auto pin, the things that happened with Pride, with the whole Pride display at the White House, him taking the photos, with some of the people there, and then I went into financial improprieties and things when you talk about the stock trade, and with like the famous people of this stuff like Nancy Pelosi, what have you. And I went down this list of like, hey, here's issues here. You can't sit here and sit on this morality high horse, Brian Tyler Cohen, and talk about the convenience of things when you guys on the Democratic side of the aisle are just as retarded, just as bad. That was essentially the episode. And then I go and I cut the shorts, right? And the short that I cut that got the attention, I'm learning. Okay, this is my second official dive into this whole video thing. I'm learning this, right? How to play this balance, this game. So when I cut the short, I just talked about the bag of spaghetti, the impropriety. The beginning, which would have, I guess, gave more context to it, I guess, was not really included. I kind of left that off. I just went with that block of chatter because I was like, that, might be, you don't know, right? You're guessing, attention grabber type shit. Well, 1,000 views, 12 likes, and some comments. And I'm going to address one of the comments directly. And the other comment, I'm gonna say um to this individual, I appreciate the constructive criticism, because now as I navigate these waters, I'm going to um take this advice because it makes sense. So this is from I love this sheet, and this individual says, um, I really wish who we knew who we were talking about. Basically, I can read, guys. I swear. Really wish we knew who you were talking about, because it does leave off of the beginning. It's just me getting into this complaint. So I will take that advice. That's constructive criticism, and um I do appreciate that. Thank you for that. But also there's another part too. Where we're saying, well, if we're this seems like a generality comment. So if this is true, then we should compare. Then you should probably compare. What a Democratic president versus a Republican president accomplished. And there's a lot of positives in this comment. And I gotta say, whether you intended it to be positive or not, thank you anyway. I appreciate that very much. But the second comment is what we're going to talk about for a little bit. This is from Pete McDonald 5174. This is quite the comment. Because the Republicans are laughing at what? The hypocrisy is astounding. Hey, listen, in your MAGA cult, you excuse and support a convicted felon, a convicted sexual assault deviant, a fraudster, a narcissistic sociopathic moron. And by the way, release the Epstein files. Then the fascist hypocrites known as the GOP/Guardians of Pedophiles can have the right to speak. Now, so what I'm going to say to this is, Pete, is this. This is the issue with shorts. None of you guys that do the short run or the doom scrolling, none of you, obviously, by the stats I've seen, cared to even watch the episode and take the full context of what was said and how it was said. None of you are doing that. So I'm going to respond to each one. This is a question: what were Republicans laughing at? They were laughing at the fact that the Democratic Party is trying to claim this moral victory of being the more moral the party with the most morals and higher morality level than the Republicans, because they get rid of their candidates when they're bad quickly. And the Republicans, Sir Pete, were laughing at them directly to their face, because that's not what they did at all. What they did was they hung on to Graham Plattner through every allegation, doubling down and tripling down on their support for him until he was losing in the polls and they had to get rid of him. And if you're the party of democracy, as you say, you would not dream of doing that. You would just simply support him as the winner of the primary in a democracy, but you don't. You want to dump him already. And of course, he obviously was forced out, suspended his campaign. So now we got a new candidate, which again, it's a credibility issue. That's exactly what the Republicans are laughing at. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't watch the episode, period. You just, what I assumed, you ran past the comment and just went, and then you lost your fucking lunch money. Now, there is no hypocrisy here, because I'm not saying there is. All I'm saying, if you listen, even in the short, I say no Republican or Democrat gets to claim the morality card, the morality high ground. No party does, because the Democrats have their issues too. I listed them beyond Joe Biden's bag of spaghetti. But you don't watch the episode. You don't fucking give a shit. You just go ahead and start vomiting your nonsense and your bile all over the screen. And then he gets personal. He says that my MAGA cult I'm not a MAGA guy. Never claimed to be. I mean, if I have to sit there and pull out the old resume, I guess so. I have never voted for Donald Trump. In his first run, I voted for Ted Cruz. It didn't work out. The second run, I didn't vote for him at all. I wrote myself in. Clearly, I'm not the president. Joe Biden was. And then in the next one, I voted for Ron DeSantis. He didn't even get out of the primary. He suspended his campaign. And I wrote myself in. Clearly, I didn't win. I'm not in office. Donald Trump is. But I don't have to prove that to you or tell you that. But at the same time, don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. I mean, I never once excused anything Donald Trump has done. I mean, if you really listen to the episode, you will realize that, if we're going to sit there and talk about the felonies and the assaults and all these things from Donald Trump, stiffing the contractors, things that he is well documented in, we can also acknowledge that Joe Biden has had a long history of fucking shit up. That's the point of the episode. But you didn't watch it. You don't give a shit. That's the problem with the internet. Every one of you fucking keyboard warriors will say dumb shit and not understand what's going on. And I don't give a shit about the Epstein files. I really don't. Because nothing's ever going to come of it. Nothing is going to happen. Let me put it this way. There's nothing holding Thomas Massey back or Ro Khanna back from reading names into the record on the floor of the Senate or the floor of the House. None of that is preventing them. There's nothing preventing them from doing it. But they read 6 names that ended up not being credible, but just because they were in the files. So since they fucked up, they've never gone back to try again. They don't have the commitment level. None of these hearings do anything. The DOJ is not going to push the issue. Even if it was a Democratic Party in charge, they wouldn't push the issue. We learned that through Merrick Garland's DOJ. We've learned that through Eric Holder's DOJ. We've learned that over the years that the Democratic Party, even Bill Clinton with his DOJ, when he was getting a blowjob under the desk and lying to Congress, perjuring himself, DOJ didn't put handcuffs on the president. Obama effectively murdered a guy with his gun running scandal into South America. His direct idea with his people, their direct bullshit idea, caused the death of an American. No accountability whatsoever. Eric Holder's not going to arrest himself. Get fucking real. So do you really think that the DOJ of the Trump administration is going to put handcuffs on the president? Their own guy? They're never going to do that. No party will arrest themselves or call themselves out, hold themselves accountable. It's never going to happen. Anyway, that's why I don't give a shit about the Epstein files. It's plain and simple. I just don't care. So that's what fucking happened on the last episode. And I gotta say, I'm actually pretty pleased to know that it gained that much traction just by talking about Biden's bag of spaghetti. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So let's dive into this. Let's keep this train rolling. Lindsay Graham. This is I found there's a lot of articles that covered this breaking news, if you will. I mean, Politico and all that. Politico did it. NBC did it. Everybody's doing it. But Dagins.com is where we're going to get this from, because it's all reporting off the AP anyway. So Ukraine has lost its strongest supporter in the United States Senate. Lindsey Graham died at age 71. The Kiev Independent reports his office said he passed away following a brief and sudden illness. His death came only days after he returned from his visit to Kiev, where he met with Ukrainian leaders to discuss the war with Russia. Graham, a Republican senator from South Carolina and close ally of Donald Trump, met with President Zelensky on July 10th. During the meeting, they discussed ways to strengthen Ukraine's air defense and the progress of a signed U.S. sanctions bill targeting Russia. While in Ukraine, Lindsey Graham also visited the facilities of Skyfall, a Ukrainian drone manufacturer. He voiced support for stronger cooperation between American companies and Ukraine's growing drone industry. He said these partnerships could help Ukraine improve its defense capabilities, and so on and so forth. News, his death brought tributes from the Ukrainian officials, describing him as a loyal friend, and he understood the country's fight was about freedom, democracy, and security. Of course, we all know Graham carried some weight in the Senate in regards to this stuff. He consistently supported Ukraine during its difficult moments. He also recalled their recent meeting in Kiev and said he would remember Graham as sincere and warm person. According to NBC News, emergency services were called to his home on Capitol Hill after a reported cardiac arrest. He had already returned to Washington following the trip. So yeah, his death leaves a vacancy in the Senate and removes one of the most outspoken voices in favor of this war in Ukraine. Many leaders in both Washington and Kiev remember him as a committed ally, and et cetera, et cetera. So a sad, sad day in politics, honestly, for me. Not a major fan of Lindsey Graham at all. I'm really not. There were some things that he did that you can agree or disagree with, as with any politician, sure. But just, I mean, him going to Disneyland by himself, a little weird. Obviously, I don't know the guys, but you know, will he be missed? Probably. You know, when you're in the Senate that long, even Mitch McConnell, who's diminishing quickly. You know, I I'm 46 years old, right? And my childhood is disappearing. And I've talked about this a lot. And I see these reports and I read these things and they just really kind of get me, you know. Cuz you grow up watching these guys in politics, you know, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. You know, you watch these guys, you know, growing up, and even Joe Biden, you know, John McCain. You watching them grow up. You watch them growing up. You watch these battles, you know, in Congress, and some of them become president. You know, Barack Obama was one, Bill Clinton was another, and you just watch these guys. You're just like, my goodness, you know, this is who I remember. And then as you get older, they slowly pass on. They slowly go, you know, into the great beyond, and you just a little bit of you goes with it. A little bit of you goes with it, and I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but to me, it's just it's like history just fading off. You know, it's very humbling. You know, like you grow up watching in entertainment. You know, you grow up watching Don Rickles and you grow up watching all the hits. You know, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, um, things like that. You know, Carl Weathers, and you George Carlin. You go down this list, and you're just like, even Clint Eastwood, who just retired. He's in his mid 90s at this point. You grow up watching these guys, whether they're stand-up comedian, actor, doing some voiceover work. You're watching these guys, and news reports just start coming out one after another. They just start dropping, and you just go, "Wow, that is like an entire era I'm never gonna see again." And you just get sad. You just get sad, and I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have this feeling. I'm really curious. Like, do you guys get sad watching this stuff just fade off? Like, isn't it gets to me. It gets to me anyway. I don't know if not to the point of emotional crying. It just to the point of like, damn, I was watching this guy for years. The the connection, it just kind of, wow, another one's gone. Um, Let me know in the comments if you have this weird feeling like I do. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go to MovieWeb. Netflix is going to do something that I I don't know about this. I mean, they are going to do. I'm gonna just I'm just on the fence about this. I don't know if you guys out there in the world have this feeling of what's coming. If it's gonna get you to, I don't know, but Netflix is exploring adding a live channel of continuous stream shows or films. So you just click a button and it just keeps going. Or it's a channel that keeps going. I don't know. Marking a shift from a traditional on demand model where you just pick what you want. Now you just pick a genre and it just plays. And they're also looking at bundling services with smaller services like Peacock and stuff. And they're testing cheaper formats of short form videos from publishers like BuzzFeed. So they already have podcasts on there, and now they're exploring these options of doing live stream like type channels, and they're, I mean, just leave it alone. I know you're not making enough money because you blow a ton of fucking money on your own content, like billions a year. And I know that you're not going to get enough revenue through membership. I just know. I don't think it's offsetting. So you're like, okay, so what kind of ways can we make money and bring in more? Well, now we're talking about live channels, other smaller bundling deals. They already went to a commercial version where you run ads. They've added podcasts, so they have to get that money back. And now they're looking at like short form shows that just constantly spit out content outside of podcasting. But then is any of this going to help, or what do you guys think about this? Are you guys excited for these changes that may happen? I mean, they're looking to bolster engagement, they're saying, but what is this? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if this type of shift is going to maybe turn some people off. How many subscribers are they going to lose with this shit? Because you pay the money, you get your, high def content, or you get your low end standard def commercial types subscription, but you get a whole menu of choice, and you just pick and choose what you want. You put it in your little um you put it in your little uh tab of my stuff or whatever, and you go and you click that, and your personal list shows up, and So they have that, and everybody seems to like it because they keep their subscriptions kind of rise and fluctuate, but they seem to be consistent in this. But it's not enough money to cover their ambitions. And this is how people go, this is how companies go bankrupt, because it's that whole strive to be number one shit. So if they couldn't get their hands on that merger with Warner Brothers, so now they know Warner Brothers and Paramount are going to merge at some point, and they are going to have to compete with it. So this is their idea. I don't know if I'm going to be Netflixing at this type of. I don't know. I'd have to see it. I'd have to see it. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? Let me know. Let's do the wrap. It's called the wrap. Like wrapping it up, I guess. The wrapping it up. All right. Moana's apparently Moana, the live action show, is not doing well at all. So they've sunk roughly $300+ million in marketing and production budget into this thing. It's getting great reviews. It's, everybody seems to like it if you're a critic. The audience is saying fucking no. 45 million over the weekend, just slightly above Snow White. They are barely above water globally. And I think I know why. And I think it has a lot to do with we just saw this fucking thing not that long ago. It was Moana 2. It just came out. It was the CGI version, computer animated version. We just saw this fucking thing. This is more of a scheduling issue than anything. And not only that, nobody likes Moana live action. Look, it looks kind of ridiculous because you're just running the first script through, the first Moana film, shot for shot in a live action version. It's not a different story. We already know the beginning, the middle, and the end. And there's no reason to do this. Let's just say that. And ultimately, there's no fucking reason to do this. The first film made over $1 billion. The second film got close. And then you put this dog shit out. And nobody wants. Now you got to compare The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, in his face to the character he voices. And they don't even look the same. He looks like a dude ultimately in his 50s, old as shit, nothing like the young, energetic CG character. And then you turn around and you shrink him down and you animate him anyway in almost every action scene. I mean, what are we doing? What are we fucking doing? We just saw this movie. Why? There's no wonder why nobody's there. We already know this film. The story's the same. No one cares about the live action bullshit. They don't. When is Disney going to learn? Snow White was an abomination. Moana's going to fail. Financially, these are dog shit boat anchors, Disney. Stop doing this. Stick to what works. If Toy Story 5, which seems to be trending well right now in the theaters, if that can get you at least $800 million, look at Inside Out 2, almost $1.5 billion. You know Spider-Man's going to give you $1 billion and change. You know the ones that work. You know what works. Stop playing in dumb-ass sandboxes. You're going to keep falling on your ass. Stop stepping on these rakes. How many analogies do I need? Stop it, Disney. Stop it. Jesus Christ. All right, kids. That's it. That's fucking it, guys. That's the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys don't criticize me too much in the comments. I will see you on the next one. Have a good one. Like, share, subscribe.